But now we go to the bigger trade. Shortly after, Philadelphia traded their number 18 pick and a fourth rounder for AJ Brown. They also gave him a huge extension. I believe it was 4 years, 100 million, and it was like, you think it's 57 million
Yeah,
guaranteed.
about that.
So a little bit less overall than what Tyreek and Devontae got, but still in that range if you're averaging out the non-guaranteed money, 25 million per year. Um, but yeah, I mean, this was rumored. I forgot how you felt, but I remember I thought he was not going to get moved. Mike Vrabel was very adamant about wanting to keep him there. Um, and to be honest, there was just more noise around Debo being moved. But yeah, nonetheless, AJ Brown gone from the Tennessee, going to Philly now, in your division. So obviously, how do you feel about this and the fit?
Well, going back to what we thought was going to happen, I thought AJ Brown was the least likely to get moved because I felt like the Titans had the most incentive to keep him because they're a contending team. You got Ryan Tannehill's getting up there in age. Derrick Henry's prime is only going to last so long. So you have more incentive to keep the core together and try and go win with it. To where like Seattle can maybe blow it up. The 49ers, Debo was scrubbing social media. He was a little more public about it. But all of a sudden, a
Say no in the
couple,
club. Go ahead.
yeah. All of a sudden, like maybe I don't know when it started. Maybe it was like a week ago. He started putting out more and more tweets. There was one specifically where he said something like, "Now all of a sudden I'm the bad guy" or something like that. And it felt like maybe there was something going on in negotiations, and there was maybe some accusations thrown out to him from somebody behind the scenes. And once I saw that one, I started to feel like maybe it's a little more likely. And then when it happened, I wasn't shocked. Like I was surprised, but I wasn't shocked that it happened because of the tweets and all the stuff that was happening. I think also he had removed some Tennessee stuff from his social media, like Debo had recently, like a couple days before the draft. So there was some inclination there. Amazing trade by the Eagles. The fact that they were able to get him for basically the same price as Hollywood Brown is absurd to me. Obviously, I mean, it was like 5 picks higher in the first round. But like I said, with the Hollywood Brown stuff, I mean, for that price, if I'm the Cardinals, man, I would throw in an extra fourth or something to make up for those 5 extra picks if that's the case. And I just have to imagine that maybe the Cardinals just didn't make the call. I don't know what happened there, but the Eagles, amazing value to get him there. You said it was what, a first and a third, first and a fourth?
First and I was saying basically almost the same thing. First and a fourth. The first was 5 picks higher than the Cardinals was. So
Yeah.
honestly, but go and finish your point, and I'll make mine.
I was just gonna say I fully expected them to take a wide receiver with their first round pick, and so you using that first round pick on basically AJ Brown, who's already a proven commodity, and then you got all you had to do that was essentially throw away a fourth. Like fantastic trade by the Eagles. Howie Roseman, I have to applaud him for this one. I haven't been a fan of a lot of his moves since their Super Bowl, but this one I'm a massive fan of for the Eagles. I hate it as a Cowboys fan. I do not want him in the division. That's a scary looking offense now because if Jalen Hurts can continue to develop and get better at throwing the ball, you have him, you got Dallas Goedert, you got Devonta Smith. I mean, you still got Quez Watkins who can make some noise. Like they're starting to get pretty scary over there. And I think that now that they have a true number one on AJ Brown, that offense could be really good. So, yeah, I hate the move as a Cowboys fan, but I think the Eagles won big time here. And for the Titans, I'm just shocked to hear that they only offered him $16 million a year, which is way below market value at this point. I mean, that's cheaper than Christian Kirk. There was like incentives that it could go up to $20 million a year, but that's honestly insultingly low. So I do not, after hearing that, if that's actually true, I do not blame AJ Brown at all for saying, no, I am worth more than that because getting paid anywhere close to what Christian Kirk got paid is pretty insulting to a guy of AJ Brown's caliber, honestly. And that's no offense to Christian Kirk, but AJ Brown is just he's one of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah. You mentioned the value. I think I don't want to start there. I think too important to note is the Eagles had to give him or I guess whatever the next team was
That's
had to give him
true.
an extension. So maybe that's why the prices are similar because hey, we're the one that got to pay him. So
Right.
maybe that's their ideology there. Um, I want to start. I feel a little bit bad for Treylon Burks now. Now the pressure's on, more pressure's on him as if it already wasn't. I'm sure he can handle it, but he's going to be under a lot of scrutiny because basically, hey, we gave up AJ Brown for you is going to be the main argument.
Right.
But you mentioned the money. Two things. I mean, this is a predominantly New England based front office and coaching staff. So we've known New England, they don't like to pay guys a lot of money. They have a set price and they're kind of set at that price. If not, we'll let you go. We'll trade you, and we'll bring in someone else. I think that was a philosophy. And two, along with that, they got to pay Jeffrey Simmons, who's been balling out the past year or two. And we've seen the money that premium defensive tackles have gone for, the DeForest Buckners, Chris Joneses, obviously Aaron Donald. I'm not saying he's getting Aaron Donald money, but who knows with the cap rising and such, he may get close to that. Like I said, we just saw Christian Kirk get a whole bunch of money, and he's not in the class of some of the guys. At least maybe not yet. Maybe he balls out, but he hasn't shown that he's in the class of some of the guys that are in the same pay range. But nonetheless, I mean, obviously we're both happy that he got paid. But yeah, it'd be interesting for Tennessee because Robert Woods, I think people forget he's there, but coming off an ACL injury, already getting older, so we'll see if him and Treylon Burks can be a good fit. But kind of like we say for Daniel Jones in regards to the Eagles, there is kind of no excuse for Jalen Hurts at this point. And if it doesn't work, like you meant, you credit Howie Roseman for the maneuvering too. I think they still have their 2 first-round picks next year. So if Jalen Hurts doesn't show that he could, get them far enough with this talent that he has around him, then they could easily move up in the draft next year and get a different quarterback, or maybe go get a known commodity. Maybe Aaron Rodgers gets upset and they say, let's grab Aaron, bring him in. But credit them to the Eagles, like you mentioned. I'm not sure if you already mentioned it, but also maximizing the fact that quarterbacks on a rookie deal, so we have a lot of cap flexibility, like we mentioned a lot. So